Hey guys, what's up? Welcome to Sports Talk with me, Rical, man. How you doing? I hope you're having a blessed day. It's beautiful out here, man. We alive and well, man. Um, congrats. You saw the NBA draft, first round draft. Has ended. You see team picked players that whom they felt can help them right now. Um, I don't think there's any team who says I'm going to pick a player to develop. You pick a player in the first round to develop for later. They pick someone that can help them now and the future. The team you saw, like the team that didn't they didn't have players that fit what they're trying to do, their scheme, the system. They trade those picks for later round for other assets. And it's a hit or miss. It's a hit or miss. It's based on what you're trying to do, based on, again, not just the system. And I think that's me, as a coach. If you're a coach, whether it's football, baseball, it doesn't matter. You're in sports. You create a system based on the players you have, not here's my system, and you just have to follow it. And I think that that's a big mistake a lot of coaches make. Because if you call on yourself a coach, you have to be able to adapt, right? Look at your personnel and say, okay, we're gonna do. Let me draft something based on that. Basketball is is a lot different than football, right? The sets are it's totally different. So, but every player, every organization, along with their scouts, they go out there and pick the players who who they felt that was best for them. Now, if you look at the first pick. And before I continue, right? There's a lot of clown out there. I call these guys clown because they're going off on Bronny James not being picked in the first round. There's a lot of players, Hall of Fame players, that weren't picked in the first round, or they were late round. You know what I mean? So it doesn't matter. You know what I mean? It's like it's who's making those decisions, those scouts. And I know that a lot of scouts share notes anyway. But the good scouts, you look at OKC, what they're doing. They have a good farm system. They have a good system. They have good scouts who actually go out there and take the time to find the talent, the right talent. You see now Utah's doing the same. You see Boston, so you need the right personnel, and I think that now the Orlando Magics, who are on my team, you know what I mean. They did pretty good last night. But I'm just saying, you see that they're hiring the right people to bring in the right talent. So the team's getting better. So you can see that. You see the progression. So there's a lot of teams who getting picked in the first round every year, and they have the same people. You're like, wait, who are they hiring? Who's running the organization? You look at the Detroit Pistons. It's bad. Like who are the scouts picking these I think these guys just go on. They have a buddy who's also a scout that just send them information, but I don't think they go to visit all those kids to see them play. Because if that's the case, what are you watching to come back to say, well, this is the guy to put to put the stuff together? You know what I mean? Like, so what are you watching? You know what I mean? So because so Detroit Piston, the Wizards. You look at every year you in a dance. You know what I mean? So like you got to I'm not seeing it, right? I'm not seeing it. But everybody picked somebody they felt, best for them. People clowning Bronny James, or he didn't get picked in the first round. Like, calm down. The kid is, this is a kid that the hate you have for LeBron James, and those are Jordan fans. You know what I mean? You can tell, right? And I know I keep, I come in, whatever, social media, I clown you guys, Jordan fans. You know what I mean? It's like, common sense is not common sense, man. Simple math, right? Simple math. Like, a couple people say the math and mathing, like they say, right? But you gotta look at the situation that you're in, right? You gotta look at the situation. This kid he's living out his dream. You have his father, LeBron James, didn't have a father, was raised by a single mother, and that lady knew. There's a lot of people who think that men raise kids. That's why it's very important to have a father figure in the house. We're gonna go back to the draft real quick. I'm gonna give you whatever. I'm gonna give you my opinion. But I just want to say this to those clowns going at Bronny James. You know what I mean? Men raise kids, not women, which is why it's super important to have someone somebody in a home to do that, right? You need a real man, not the boys running around, real men. But so the mother realized that, so of course, she was trying to pick someone, that can help her son, and those guys weren't there, so she wasn't bringing guys around. If she dates somebody, she date him outside. Don't come near my son, or whatever. She did everything herself. But she knew LeBron needed a mentor, whatever. And this guy, 18 years old, coming out of the league, number one pick, so much pressure, the chosen one, all the stuff. And of course, Jordan retired because he beat Jordan when they played one-on-one, when they played whatever, you know what I mean? So the guy came in, kid from the hood, poor, live up to the hype. He did everything right. You guys been hoping for him to fail. Zero scandals. He been married. He married to his high school sweetheart. Been together for decades. I have 3 kids, 2 boys, 1 girl. The girl playing volleyball. She's a great volleyball player, by the way. She's a great volleyball player, by the way. His daughter, LeBron James' daughter. Bronny, doing his thing, of course. Is he a great player? No, but he's a great defender. When you see Bronny James, he's similar to Russell Westbrook, the same motor, right? And Ben Simmons. And Ben Simmons, by the way, he's balling at UCLA, training. But I'm just saying. So the guy's doing his thing. Bryce is, Bryce will be more like LeBron James in a way. But again, those guys are attackers. But the guy's present. He's there, spending time with his kids, his sons and his daughter. Proud father, proud husband. Why can't you be happy for, like right now you in your basement, your parents' basement, or wherever you are, hating on a guy. Your life is not better. Your life, the guy's a multi-millionaire. Bronny James, that is. His father's a billionaire. Living his dream. Whatever he wants to buy, he could go and do that. Right? Whatever he wants to do, he can go and do that. But you haven't given him the chance to do that. You've been attacking him, doing all, doing all this stuff, going off at him. Because why? Why? The kid playing, out of high school, went to USC, didn't get much playing time. The team weren't that good. He got hurt. He got sick. You know what I mean? But, okay, he's coming to the draft. People saying if his father wasn't LeBron James, he wouldn't get that opportunity. When Jimmy Butler was in college, Bronny James averaged more points, rebound, assists, steals, block, whatever, more than Jimmy Butler. And Jimmy Butler's a beast. So there's a lot of guys who average a lot of points, who've done a lot in college, and they come to the pro, they come to the league, they're trash. So there are players who fit for college. There are players who are not. Jordan, your idols, your daddy was trash in high school. He needed to go to college to develop, right? So he did. Kenny Smith helped him. Ball handling, all that stuff. We'll stay after, to help him. So that's the thing. LeBron James came straight out of high school because he was that good. He could have been in the NBA at 15 if they would allow it. That's how great the guy was, and still is at 40 years old. Still dominating. So let him be. Let his son. Let the kid be. So attacking Bronny James for what? It shows you where you are in your life. I think you should focus more on building your own life, right? Instead of worrying about somebody else. The kid is living his dream. You didn't live your dream. You still struggling. You didn't live yours. But you're doing yourself a disservice. The amount of energy, the amount of hate I see on social media, and I use social media because, again, I use it, but I'm just saying that the amount of hate that's coming in for an 18-year-old kid, 19-year-old, whatever, that's, they went to college for a year and decide, okay, I'm going to play on a pro. No one make it in life. Let me say this, right? Nobody make it in life without someone help. Nobody make it in life without someone help. You went on an interview, someone helped you. You at your job. There's someone help. There's something you don't understand. Someone help you. You know what I mean? So no matter what it is, the amount of hate coming towards this kid for what? You got to say to yourself, man, come on, time to grow up, man. Invest that energy, invest that time into yourself, and see how well you can do it. You couldn't make it where he is, so you jealous. He have his NIL deal. He have a whatever. He's a multi-millionaire. You jealous. You are jealous. All the hate, all the stuff, that's all. That's all. You have nothing. No assets, nothing. Nothing. You know what I mean? Like, if you get fired from your job today, what do you have? Nothing. But you spending time and, hating on this kid, on Bronny James, or you didn't get drafted. Of course. You know what I mean? Of course. And a lot of the kids who get drafted in the first round, Bronny James might be better than them. You know what Bronny James have that they don't have? He have his dad. He's training with his dad. You know what I mean? He is training with his dad to be able to do what he can. Let him live. You know what I mean? Let him live. Let him enjoy. Let him enjoy life. Let him enjoy life. Let the kid be. Because at the end of the day, the amount of hate you given, your life is in shambles right now. I think that you should be out there thinking God, you know what I mean, do something to help yourself. Cause this is crazy. Anyway, man, that's all I wanted to say. About that. But we're gonna go back to thank you for letting me ramble, a little bit. You know what I mean? I appreciate the love, man. Anyway, man, let's go. The Atlanta Hawks. They picked Zachary, Riza-Share. Zachary is a great player. He's a solid player. I think that when you look at for the Hawks, you have Trae Young, you have Dejounte Murray. You know what I mean? One of these guys will be getting traded, if not both. I think the Hawks, wants to start fresh because, of course, the organization coaching had problem with Trae Young. And they were back and forth. You fired the coach, but the situation didn't change. You know what I mean? So of course you want Dejounte to flourish. You know what I mean? Which is I think that Greg Popovich did him a favor. Say, hey, you know what? We were in a rebuilding mode. Whatever. I'm gonna let you go do your thing. Whatever. Greg Popovich is a great coach, a great man. You know what I mean? It's a great man, great human being. I don't care what people say about him, but he's a great man, a great human being, man. You got to meet him. Great man. But I think the Atlanta Hawks put in a certain situation. If you look at it, you draft Zachary, first round pick, first overall pick. So Trae Young now, they're gonna have to trade it. They're gonna trade him. So you're looking at teams like the Lakers, who both LeBron James and Anthony Davis told the Lakers to go all in on bringing in the third star because they want to win. So I'm looking at it for the Lakers. Do they trade for Dejounte Murray or Trae Young? The only thing for me, Dejounte's an attacker. Of course, he's gonna attack the basket, but in terms of hoop and shooting, it's not there like that. He could go off. He could be cold. But the same thing can be said with Trae Young. He's a shorter player, but he can also create multiple shots. So I think that would you go all in, with that? And I think so I think for the Lakers will benefit from that situation. But the thing is, at what cost or what price you're gonna give up the house to get Trae Young with that contract? I wouldn't do that. I think that with the Lakers, you could give 2 first round pick, or you give 2 first round pick for Trae Young if you're gonna take that massive contract. You know what I mean? So, or you give because I don't think Atlanta gonna just let him go for 2 first round picks. They're gonna want multiple picks, but then who will be willing to get that mammoth of that contract? I said, that's like $1 billion. You know what I mean? So nobody's gonna do that. You know what I mean? Nobody's gonna do that. So, but if you find somebody to do it, to take on that contract, I think the Lakers would do it and just pay that luxury tax or whatever. But they'll be restricted to do certain moves. But if you know what I mean, so it's less money. But if you do that, you can say I give you a first and a second and a third. You know what I mean, and then the future first round somewhere else. And then to deal with that contract. But then you're gonna dump your players. That's gonna restrict you from a lot of things. I think the cheaper move would be Garland from Cleveland. For them. But I know, but the way it look right now, the Hawks, they don't look like you keeping Trae Young because Zachary is a similar player. You know what I mean? He does exactly even more than Trae. So that's a big decision for them. But that's it. Alex Saw from Washington Wizards picked Alex Saw. Alex Saw is of course will develop to a great player in the right system with the right coach. You know what I mean? So I don't know that going to the Wizards, a best move for him. But he had no choice. This way he's picked the second pick. The Wizards, Bradley Beal, but I haven't really picked players like that. I can help them So we'll see what happened. So you have to surround the kid with other talent and other for you to maximize his true potential. So we'll see. The Houston Rockets, they got a trade via the Brooklyn Nets. They pick up Reed Shepherd. Reed Shepherd, he's a defensive specialist, right? Reed Shepherd is a defensive specialist. I know that the Rockets are going all in to, I've said that before. They're trying to get Kevin Durant. They're trying to trade for Jimmy Butler. Jimmy Butler, did not pick up he's not signing the extension. So you trying to do so much to do that. But bringing the Reed Shepherd, a player that can help them now. Again, a great defender. He's good with the when with the offensive rebounds. He's good at that. So we'll see. Detroit Pistons pick up Ron Allen the second. Also, is a solid player in college. You coming in to have him there. But I know the Pistons, they need a lot. They need a lot, man. Money Williams got fired and still making $85 million from both the Suns and Pistons. Man, that's a good money right there. Sign me up. You know what I mean? But that's good. But Ron Holland will help. They're young, but I think they need more, and they need to be patient with the coach. They have to pick the right coach, to do that. I would look at Sam Cassell or somebody because man, that situation is not that good. But Ron Allen would help, but he's gonna need more to be able to help that team, and it's gonna take time to show because he doesn't have the help. So we'll see what happens, man. We'll see what happens. And then you look at the Hornet to James Saloon, whatever. They pick him again. The Hornets now without Jordan, they have world scouts. You know what I mean? So Jordan was heavy to pick on all the players, and he didn't know what he was doing. LaMelo was picked not by Jordan, which is why LaMelo was successful. You know what I mean? Well, Jordan didn't know what he was doing, man. So now that he's no longer hovering around, sold the team. So now the team, because that's a good pick to put him in a better position to compete. They're a solid team with having the right mind. You have the right owner now, because you have the right owner now that can help mold the team. Not somebody hovering around thinking that better than anybody else, and where he didn't. He was the worst at everything. So the best thing for Charlotte was Jordan selling the team, because Jordan is trash. You didn't know what he was doing. He's way over his head. Portland Trailblazer picked Donovan Klinger. Portland having Donovan on that team with the 7th pick. Scoot Anderson have a lot of growth, but he's lazy, and that's the thing. Scoot Anderson is lazy. Was a promising player. You know what I mean? But he is lazy. He's a sometime because again, all these guys want you want to be rapper. All these guys want to be rappers instead of being in the club, instead of being in a lab training. To work to maximize his talent, and you haven't done that. So you have Donovan Klinger that's gonna push him. Anybody's gonna push him because he's lazy. Scoot Anderson is lazy. So that's a good situation for Donovan. Donovan will be able to, he will be the focal point, because Portland realized they made a mistake with Scoot Anderson, and because like I said, you have the talent, but he's just a lazy guy. You have to constantly push him, and that's not working, Minnesota, the Minnesota Timberwolves, they picked Rob Dillingham. He is similar player to Anthony Edwards. He's a similar player with Anthony Edwards. So you put both of those guys together, who was an attacker. Anthony Edwards is an attacker. You know what I mean? I know. Doing the playoffs, it didn't look like it. I mean, he folded when he needed to, but the supporting cast had a lot to do with it too. But still, that's a good pick. For them, because you see Boston, they building. You see the team. They have wings. They have shooters. All around shooters. They could kill you anywhere. They play defense and they shooting. So you can't lock down on Jaylen Brown. You can't lock down on Tatum. You have White. You have all those guys. So I felt bad for Marcus Smart, all those guys. Who were part of the process, and then hey, that's life. But still, so that's the thing that you see. Timber will decide, hey, we need more shooters. We need more. They gotta get away from the you have two big men and they soft. They're not doing anything. So they changing that. They see Boston is effective, so they're doing that. Now Memphis went pick Zach a day. Picking Zach is a good thing. For them, they already have the player. Yeah, I'm saying with Memphis having Ja Morant. By the way, there's a statue they're making of Ja Morant with Nike. That was crazy. That statue looked nothing like that kid. But anyway, you have Ja Morant. When he come back healthy, man, whew, you put him with Zach, who's there's a similar style in terms from a attacking, from an offensive player standpoint. Yeah, they both play defense, but also but they attack. Zach is that player. Memphis need that type of consistent to play defense. So good for them. The Utah Jazz picked Cody Williams. Utah, you see what they're doing. It's similar to OKC. They building a farm. They building a team to have constant success. They don't want the microwave, right? You see OKC in Utah. So Utah, you pick a player like Cody Williams. You pick him to have constant growth, and those guys will be successful at that. So having Cody Williams in that system, they're gonna be good there. So he's in a good situation. I'm happy for them. Chicago Bulls with the 11th pick up Matas, Buzzless, whatever, Buzellis, whatever, however you say it. But to pick him, because you look at it, you're gonna lose DeRozan. You're gonna trade Zach LaVine. You know what I mean? You need, well, if they can find a suitors for you saw what they did. They made the trade already. My God, I forgot his name. He played for the Lakers. Forgot his name. They trade with OKC. Ready to but to have the Matas there, so that's gonna help them. To build, to do what they need to do. So that's a good pick. You know what I mean? That's a good pick. So we'll see how it goes. And OKC, they picked Topic, Nikola Topic. OKC, again, they can pick anybody. That they have the farm, they have the system to develop players. A Serbian player, and those guys are pretty good. Those guys are pretty good. So he's in a good system there. Similar. He's bigger than Chet, so of course, Chet is getting a little bit more muscle, but you put Nikola with him to get you put as power forward, center, or whatever. Those guys will be able to to contain, protect the rims, and because they're rim protectors. The Kings pick up Devin Carter, which is a good move for them because you're gonna lose some players. So that's something that to be able to put you see what Brown's doing, having Mike Brown's having those type of players there to help and to make sure that that's what shooters you need shooters. So because you saw what happened with them, they had an opportunity they were high and then they couldn't go anywhere because again once the shooting's gone. That's it. But they need players that can not just shoot, but can also attack the basket, and that's where which is good for them. The Washington Wizards, of course, again, traded from Portland. They pick up Bob Carrington. Bob Carrington, is a solid player, solid defender. He's giving you the points, the rebounds, and which is something that they need. But you got two solid picks in the first round. You can build from. You know what I mean? Are they in a position to win now? No. Having those two players, they just they put themselves in a better position to win at least 6 to 10 games to be better than they were last year. But that's a good thing. Miami pick up Khalil Ware. Khalil is a good player at number 15. He is a good player he's a solid player. So you have a guy like that coming in. You're gonna lose Jimmy Butler. You're losing. So this is somebody to grow with. So he's gonna fit pretty well in that system. They'll be better for it. But you losing Jimmy Butler, it's gonna take time to recover from that. So but that will help. Anyway, 76ers win and pick Jared McCain. Jared McCain, that watching him, in college, I do seeing, he's a shooter. He can create shots, his own shot, which is what 76ers are looking for from Tyrese Maxey. That because I've been in a few games. Tyrese took a lot of bad shots. You know what I mean? He's not a true, he's not a 3-point shooter. He took a lot of bad shots, behind the arc. So now you have Jared McCain who can take those shots. You know what I mean? So Jared McCain will put them in a better position to do that, to be successful, right? He's a spot up shooter. He can create his own shots. So that's the type of player that you remind me a little bit of Beasley. Beasley can spot up shooter, can create his own shots, and that's So there's a lot of similarity with him. So putting him in that position, and that Joel Embiid can stay healthy, right? Joel Embiid don't have to be out there like that. If you're able to get you got a player like Paul George. If he doesn't go to Golden State, there's a possibility Paul George might go to Golden State or 76ers. So, but injury is the only thing that stopping them from doing that. But if that player, if you're able to get him, that would be great. But now having so having McCain, Jared here in Philadelphia, that's gonna help a lot. For that team. Maxey can go back to his true natural position, and then let Jared do what he does, and that's gonna be great for them. You know what I mean? That's gonna be great for them. Anyway, number 17 pick, the Lakers, the Los Angeles Lakers pick Dalton Knack. Dalton Knack, that's to me, it's the steal of the draft. Dalton Connect was the steal of the draft, right? You know what I mean? So because I know because he's 23 years old, 21, 20. You know, a lot of players didn't want to take. A lot of teams didn't want to take. You know what I mean? So a lot of teams didn't want to pick, you know, Dalton Connect because of his age. You know what I mean? Because of his age. I understand, like, yeah, the guys are, for the Lakers, who's been looking for shooters. That's great. The guy's a gym rat. The fact that he's hungry, and I love that. He's a gym rat. He's going to a situation with LeBron James, who the Lakers, offer a 3-year deal to. You know what I mean? He just got, he's looking to see what's going on first before you sign that. But I think after today, he's gonna sign it. Believe me, Lakers gonna pick his son, and he'll be all right. But anyway, and you're looking at the trades too. But what I'm saying is, for a team that's looking for shooters, you know what I mean? And this kid, the fact that he's been overlooked, right? He's been overlooked, so he's been in the gym training, working his butt off to make sure he's successful. He's a gym rat. So to go in a situation with LeBron James, who's in the lab all the time, to have this kid that wants to be in the lab all the time, sky's the limit. You know what I mean? Sky's the limit. So I'm super happy for him. You know what I mean? I'm super happy for him that and to go in a situation like that. You know what I mean? To go in a situation where he can, he's coming in to have a great player there. And LeBron James, that's gonna help him. The kid played 36. Yeah, he played 30 minutes. He averaged 21.7 points a game. Right? 21.7 points a game. He averaged 5 rebounds a game. Right? He averaged 5 rebounds a game. He averaged 2 steals a game. The guy played 30 minutes. The guy, like I said, he gave you 30 minutes. He gave you 21.7, almost 22 points a game. That he give you, right? To do all that, he gave you 5 rebounds, 2 assists a game. He's a 50, 40, 77 split. The kid, for a team who likes shooters, for a player like LeBron James who likes shooters, to bring it, to be able to do that, to have that, that's great. You can develop. I want to see him in the summer league. I want to see how what he's gonna do. But you put a player like that with Max Christie to help him, because I think Max Christie's game's getting a lot better. Being around LeBron James, seeing his 3-pointer, his mid range is he's getting better. So Dalton Connect for the Lakers, that's a great pick. I felt that he was that's the steal of the draft, to be able to have a player like that. You know what I mean? And then Orlando Magic, when they pick up Tristan De Silva, to have Ben Carroll, I love it. As a Magic fan, I love it. Right? You need shooters. You know what I mean? Because like I said, you see what Boston, what the Celtics were able to do. They have nothing but shooters. You know what I mean? They have shooters that can hurt you. So you can't double anybody, and that's what you need. And so I'm glad Orlando Magic decided to go that route, pick shooters. And that's what hurt them. Because they didn't have shooters when they needed to. So hey, I'm happy with that. So I'm excited. Toronto have Jacoby Walter. So that's good for him. Toronto, of course, they're rebuilding, to You lost a player like Siakam, so they've been, so to have somebody that, similar player with Siakam, so that's gonna be good. So that's, they're rebuilding, so that's a good system take for them. Cleveland pick up Jalen Tyson, so you already know that, of course, Garland. That's it. The writing's on the wall right there. So that's something that you already see that's gonna happen. But so you pick up once you pick Jalen, like I said, they're a similar player. You can't have the same player doing the same thing. It's like Chris Paul going to the Lakers. LeBron James facilitate all that stuff. So you don't need Chris Paul. That's what I'm saying. So having Jalen, you got Garland, and you pick up Tyson, so you already see where it's going. You gotta have to trade him. New Orleans Pelicans, they have Eve Missy. You put him in that you put him in that system to come in to do what he's a good player. He's a solid player. I think that. 21, of course, is a little reach, but he's gonna be good. He's gonna be good there. Solid. He's a good defender, good rebounder. So that's something. He's a you need the game's changing to you need good mid-range shooters, and he'll give that to the Pelicans. Denver they picked the Ron Holmes the second. Of course, because they need shooters. They need somebody to help Dejounte Murray, because you saw that doing what happened during the playoffs. He wasn't as successful. He was with the Lakers because Lakers didn't have shooters. Because Lakers lost, beat themselves. Denver then beat them. So to have a player like that, Denver looking at it, we need somebody that, in case, not in case. That can match up well with Dejounte to be able to help them. So that's a good pick for Denver right now. Milwaukee pick AJ Johnson. Milwaukee looking at it, they need defenders. You saw what happened. Giannis went down, the points went away. They couldn't defend. They couldn't do anything. And I know that you trade that trade to Boston, then it look a fool. So that's a good thing. Washington again pick Keyshawn George. So now you have 3 picks in the first round. They traded those 3 players. They picked 3 different players, but all are attackers. They're all hungry to come in to build a new system. From players who they weren't part of the losing culture, so that's good. And they coming in to so that's gonna be good for them. So that's great. So having Keyshawn there, that's good. New York Knicks, Pacom Dadiet, whatever. Pacom Dadiet. That's a good. Man, the Knicks are, they shoring up their bench right now, right? Because he's not coming in to be a starter. Like he's not coming in to be a starter. You have the Villanova boys already locked down. You have Randall there. So one of the mistakes that the Knicks, they didn't have a bench. They didn't have somebody that could come in to give these guys rest. So having Pacom there, that's gonna be good for the Knicks, man. Randall's coming back healthy. You have the 4 Villanova boys back together. So I'm excited, man. My cousin's a Knicks fan, so of course I want to, I want to see the Knicks do well. The same way, of course, I want my Orlando Magic to do well. But you know what I mean. But hey, I want he's been suffering for a long time, so I want him to have some success. The OKC picked Dylan Jones. OKC again, they know how to pick, man. So that's a ripe situation for Dylan Jones. That's all I'm gonna say, because OKC can pick anybody. They know, OKC and Utah, those teams, when they pick players, you know that their scouts actually working. Other scouts are not working, but OKC, Utah, so that's good. So I'm happy for them. The Knicks trading a lot of picks to get more picks. You gotta give credit to what they're doing. They're trying to build a farm. They want to have constant success. So that's good for them. I know some Knicks fans are not happy that they make those trades, but hey, you pick what you, like I said, you pick for the future. When you see something that can help you right now, you do it. If it's not, you move on. You trade them. Minnesota at 27 picking Terrence Shannon Jr. That's, again, they picking players that can help them. They saw what happened to them in the playoffs. They're not trying to go back to that. They want to change that stuff. So which is good. So I'm happy for them to pick players that can help them now. So he does that for them. Yeah, so which is a good thing, to have that. You have Terrence from Minnesota, so that's good. They need that. And then Phoenix, they have Ryan Dunn, who's a good player. Jazz also picked Isaiah Collier, who's also a good player, and Boston picked Baylor, scheming whatever to help them. So anyway, man, that's my 30th. I'll give you the second round. Later today. Yeah, all right. Sports talk, man. Like, subscribe, and share, man. And let me know what you think. Do you think all those teams picked the right players, and vice versa? Anyway, all right. Bye-bye.